Today we're exploring Black Star Canyon, infamous Black Star Canyon in Orange County, tucked up against the Saddleback Mountains. We're interviewing Jake again for his firsthand accounts of some of the creepy stuff that has happened to him in this rather creepy, historically creepy area. Okay, so episode 2 or 1.1.5.
Yeah.
Back with Jake here, and he's going to be sharing some cool stories about the Trabuco Canyon, Black Star Canyon area of Orange County. It's all live oaks. It's got some deep history going back to Spaniards and prospectors and horse thieves and Satanists, etc. So from there, I'll let you take it from there.
So, the interesting thing is about me in Orange County is I was born in Anaheim, but I grew up in Riverside. So by the time I was like 18, 19 years old, I was starting to spend more time in Orange County. And then I had moved out there at that time. And then you would heard things about Black Star Canyon, about how there was a Satanist house out there. And it always had this crazy kind of stigma to it. It wasn't until, I don't know, I say maybe about 20, 21 years old was the first time I went out to Black Star Canyon with a group of friends. Black Star Canyon is a lot closer to, well, what we know now is Lake Forest, but it used to be called El Toro back in the day. It's a lot closer than you think. It's about halfway between, Orange Hills and Lake Forest itself. So it's really, really, literally only about 15 minutes up the road. But when people talk about Black Star Canyon, it seems like such a faraway place. But the first thing that you're told when you don't go there is, oh my gosh, yeah, that's where like a Satanist house is. And, I've been out there during the day, and I've been out there in the evening time. I've been out there at dark more than during the day. But no matter when you go, it always has this really creepy vibe to it. And like John was saying, it's really, really got a storied past. From cattle rustling, horse stealing, all the way to, Native American history.
Can you say there was a massacre there? Native American.
There was actually a massacre of Native Americans by local settlers. And if you do a little bit of research on Black Star Canyon, there's a really interesting story about a guy that was murdered by another family. So
and I remember hearing as a kid the over by the creek there was prospectors and stuff, and you could still see old like mining carts and stuff.
Yes,
I understand.
They are absolutely out there. I mean, old mining sheds. The last time I was out there was probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago. There's still an old iron ore cart out there near the creek bed.
Yeah.
All kinds of remnants from the past. There's a story about a school bus. I don't know why a school bus would be up there. That had run down and like went down into this ravine, and it's still there. If you hike about 3 or 4 miles up the canyon, that school bus is still in the creek bed area. So
post-apocalyptic in
right?
mind,
So some of the most intense times that I've been out there, actually, my very first time we went out at night, you used to be able to park up at the end of the where the gate is.
Yeah.
If anyone's been to Black Star Canyon, they know what I mean by the gate. There's a few houses up Black Star Canyon. There's no street lights. If you go out there when there's no moon, it really intensifies the feeling. But the very first time that we went up there as a group, we were in a car, and there was 4 or 5 of us in the car. There was the headlights of, I remember seeing it, a Jeep Cherokee that was either silver or really light pale ice blue, coming right at us, like right for us. There's no lines on the road, so it's kind of an undefined road. But we kind of swerved off the road to miss it. But we look in the rearview mirror, and we look over our shoulders, and nothing was there. No taillights, no Jeep, no nothing. So that was experience number one, which was really, really crazy. But instead of bail on our little journey, we were like, you know what, this is kind of a cool way to start the night. We're gonna
Just
keep
getting
going.
started. You got the Phantom Jeep running you off the road. And
Right.
so is that something that is experienced by a couple, by other people, or is that like a one-off, that Phantom Jeep thing?
No, I have heard other anecdotes about people having the same experience. Some people say it was a Jeep, some people say it was a truck. But if anyone's had this experience, I've heard it from at least 2 or 3 other people where a truck tried to run them off the road. And it was that same exact experience. So it's kind of interesting. I'll go into the possibility of, maybe debunking it as I tell the story, my previous experience. So let me kind of get into it. So you used to be able to park up at the gate, and so we parked up at the gate. At the time we didn't prepare ourselves, so we didn't have any flashlights. So we were literally walking by moonlight. But every time you go into Black Star Canyon, whether it's by moonlight, whether you have flashlights, whether it's completely dark out and there is no moon, which I really, really recommend doing,
Yeah.
You will always get this feeling that you're being watched the entire time. The thing about where Black Star Canyon is, too, right up against the mountain in the foothills, there's a lot of wildlife. And there's a lot of rattlesnakes and tarantulas and mountain lions and coyotes. So you not only do you have to worry about weird spiritual stuff happening, you also have to worry about the wildlife in the area.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming upon you.
Shitting yourself on a fallen
right?
oak tree or something too.
Exactly. So it's really, really dark. In the canyon itself, there's always a breeze. Whether it's windy or not, there's always a breeze. And at any given moment, that breeze will change. And it'll change direction, which is not really a common thing, especially when that area is so prone to Santa Ana winds just blowing offshore.
Yeah.
But, imagine experiencing a Santa Ana wind and then all of a sudden it changes the direction for no reason.
And it's a tight canyon, huh? It's not a big valley.
In the very beginning, when you're walking due north, because the canyon itself, you walk due north for maybe a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, and it's pretty open. There's off to your right as you're walking up the canyon, there's kind of like a little bluff, I guess a little ridge line that's probably about 100 feet high, that you can see trees and cactuses and remnants of live oak trees like you were talking about. But the area and the first part of the walk it's kind of like an opening. It's kind of like a little meadow, but nothing's growing there. And it's a dirt road. But then once you get about 3/4 mile up the road, then the road takes kind of a sharp right turn and goes into the foothills. But before you even get to that point, every single time you go there, you will experience something new. Whether you hear footsteps that aren't a part of your group, that's happened to us. Whether you hear whispering or voices from other groups that aren't there, you will always come across other groups too that are either leaving or that have stopped to smoke or do whatever. But that ridge that I was talking about, that's where you'll get the feeling of people looking at you. It feels like a group of people too. The atmosphere is chaotic. Like there's a lot going on. And one of the things about Black Star Canyon is the silence is deafening. And what I mean by that, it is so quiet that your ears will start to ring every single time. I tell you, you need to go to Black Star Canyon and experience this. Because I don't know if you've ever been somewhere where it's so quiet that all you hear is the ringing inside your ear or like a roaring happening inside your head. But it happens every time in Black Star Canyon.
Nice. Just completely blanketed in darkness and silence moving through the canyon. It sounds intense.
It's really, really intense.
And those entities sound like what people have reports of they call wood nymphs, or
Yeah.
wood elves. Yeah.
What it feels like to me is, honestly, it feels like a group of Native Americans watching you,
Oh
because
wow.
this originally was their land. This was their area.
Yeah.
Then it was taken by the Spanish. Then it was taken by the settlers, and they were killed and pretty much forced off of this land. But if this land is rightfully anyone's, it's the wildlife and the Native Americans, which,
Mm.
the Native Americans are long gone in that area. And the only thing in that, what's that rancho down there called? There's a big ranch down in that canyon. That's further down Santiago Canyon, but
Huh.
that
I'll look it
goes,
up.
yeah, that goes back to the Spanish settlers.
Yeah. And just over in Trabuco Canyon, that was the last place a California grizzly bear was shot and killed, the last one. And
Yeah, that
there's just a lot of energy going on over there, and especially with the Satanists being over there doing rituals or whatnot. I wonder if there's just a lot of open circles out there from rituals that are kind of letting things in and out.
the interesting about that, it's the Satanists out there were an actual fact. It's a fact that they had a house out there, or a temple or whatever they call it, but that's actually true. If you do some digging on the internet, it's really, really hard to find because they never left a paper trail. But
Yeah.
from what I've seen and the research that I've actually done, like that's the truth. Black Star Canyon is the home to a Satanist house of worship.
Yeah, I wonder what, denomination or sect, as weird as that sounds, like African voodoo or Santeria or,
Whatever it
Talmudic
may be.
stuff, Kabbalistic. That would be interesting, but only because the name Black Star, that's what they call Saturn,
Exactly.
Satanism. So Black Star Canyon.
Yeah, Black Star is a big meaning. And the funny thing is, up there's another one called Morning Star Canyon, which Morning Star also relates to Satanism as well.
Lucifer, son of the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy because that area, it's just, there's no other way to describe it. It's kind of like a vortex for all kinds of weird things that can't be explained.